Hi everybody, Mitch Tanenbaum here. Thanks for joining me today. This is the an update on a new technology which seems to be gaining some slow amount of traction. I'll explain why. But if it eventually becomes mainstream, it'll be really, really cool. That technology is called passkeys, and what it is it's a replacement for passwords, plain and simple. The problem with passwords is you have to remember them. You have a lot of them. You tend to reuse them. You tend to pick ones that are possible to remember or type. Passkeys eliminate all of that. So here's, we see passkey support at Google, at Amazon, and Microsoft, and probably some other places too, with those big three. So you can play with it, but there's a lot of problems with it. So anyway, let me just spend a few minutes talking about, well, what is a passkey? So fundamentally, what happens is when you sign up for website A, you and that website exchange some data which allows you on your computer to create a public and a private encryption key. The public key is not secret. You can post it on the wall outside your office or your house, and that does not compromise security. The private key is the thing that you want to keep secure. And with passkeys, you generate this passkey. The private key never leaves your computer. So, and I say that, but with an exception of if you're using Google to implement it, of course, you trust Google because I mean, after all, Google would never have a security breach, and so it's not, maybe those passkeys are not so secure. But if you're using Windows passkeys, for example, they stay on your computer, and as long as your computer isn't compromised, those passkeys are secure. If you go to site B and you want to create a passkey, that's a different public-private key pair. And so if the public-private key pair from site A gets compromised, that does not compromise the security of site B, which is great. And these are stored in a database in your computer or in your phone. Now, if you have drunk the Kool-Aid, whose ever Kool-Aid you like, and right now the two Kool-Aid providers are Google and Apple. Microsoft is not really a provider; it's a consumer, but not really a provider. They kind of piggyback on top of the Google infrastructure. Um, but once this works, and of course, having three sites that support it, which I guess is more than three sites because Microsoft, Google, and Amazon all have more than one site. But let's be really, 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 really generous. Having 1,000 sites support it, doesn't help for the 2 billion sites that don't support it. Every website is going to need to go off and make changes to the code and implement passkey support if they want to use it. So that's the downside of passkey. So it's going to be years before it becomes mainstream. So let's talk about what the problems were. Okay, so with Google, um, the passkey stuff is buried down in some third or fourth level menu. You can get to it, but you really got to be motivated to do it. I don't understand why it's not at the top level, but it's not. So you got to find it. That's number one. I enrolled in Amazon's passkey, and then it did work to log it on. That absolutely did work. Um, but since I have two-factor authentication turned on in my Amazon account, after the computers itself did a handshake, then it asked me for my multi-factor authentication. Now maybe you could turn that off given passkeys are secure enough. But if you're using this in a work environment, you're gonna have to get your employer's permission to turn that off and potentially also your customer's permission. So and your insurance company's permission. If you tell your insurance company, well, no, we don't use two-factor authentication, we use passkeys, they're going to say, that's great, we're not going to give you insurance. So that doesn't help there. Um, I also did not see an option in the Google world. You have to log in with a password to start with, and then you can log in with a passkey. The difficulty of that, of course, is if the user ID and password is still in place as a way to log in, you really haven't improved security because if the bad guys compromise your user ID and password, they're still into your account. Yes, it's easier for you to log in, but it's no more secure. So that's obviously a problem. Um, we'll get there. These are growing pains. Although, I've looked for ways in many vendors to turn off using text messages as a two-factor authentication method. I haven't found that. So, these guys are mostly interested in how do we reduce support costs, not how do we make you more secure. In the Windows world, there's a way for you to look at the passkeys that you have set up. There's no way to back them up. There's no way for you to move them from one computer. Well, that's not fair. You can move them from one computer to another, but what you have to do basically is hack the registry, grab the data, copy the data manually, and then move it to the registry in the new computer. So effectively, there's no way to back it up. It's also tied to Windows Hello, which I think is a good thing. Windows Hello is physically tied to your computer. It's tied to the trusted platform module in your computer. That TPM is a bit of encryption hardware that lives in most modern computers. So if you use more than one computer and you want to log on to Amazon, I don't know what the hell you do, because there's no way to go off and copy your passkey from computer A to computer B. So that's a real problem. Google's implementation, of course, only works with Chrome, not surprising. So, that's a problem if you use any other browser. And even if someone were to steal your secret key, since it is tied to your Windows Hello authentication, which could be biometric. Now, I have a camera on my computer because you can see me, but Windows Hello doesn't recognize it for whatever reason. I don't know why it doesn't recognize it. So that's a problem. So there's a lot of kinks here, and that's really a situation where you're going to be in a boat that, until the kinks get worked out. And number one, I think, is the backup and restore in the Windows environment, the copying it from one computer to another computer, all of that. Somehow there's got to be a mechanism to keep those in sync. I think from Microsoft's standpoint, they said, we don't exactly know how to do this securely. And I don't blame them for that, because I'm not sure how to do it securely. And so we're just not going to do it. But that makes it kind of useless. So, if you have, several hundred million websites that are out there that all need to adopt this technology, and technology is not quite ready for prime time, I think it's a little bit better, like I said, if you drunk the Kool-Aid, either the Apple Kool-Aid or the Google Kool-Aid, and you never use anything else ever anywhere, then yeah, this will probably work. It'll, at least it'll be better for sure. Is this not ready for prime time? Maybe. I think that's probably true, but it's certainly ready for you to start learning. However, once they get the kinks worked out, this is going to be way more secure, and I think that's a real plus. So we ought to, be cheerleaders for passkeys, because that really will improve security. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. And until next time, stay safe.
Turnkey Cybersecurity and Privacy Solutions offers the complete cybersecurity program for small to medium-sized businesses. They include everything needed to secure your business and meet compliance requirements. Visit our website at turnkeycybersecurityandprivacysolutions.com to learn more.